Hey peeps, thanks for peeping. And as you can tell, I am going to go ahead and do Caltrop Core as my next sessions. When I first discovered this, first of all I laughed because I didn't even have to read the rules, and when I saw Caltrop, the first thing I thought of was four-sided dice. Because I always picture ninjas running along throwing those little four-sided dice down on the ground. I don't know if you've ever stepped on a four-sided dice, but it is a very painful experience. Anyway, when I first saw this SRD by Lex Kim Royale, I believe, when I first seen this, I thought to myself, how could you even make a full game with just a four-sided dice? Because there's not enough variation, right? But then here's the basics of it right here. So you're somehow or another you're using a four-sided dice to resolve conflict within a role-playing game, right? And you can see right here that one is an absolute failure. You don't get what you want and things get a lot worse. Two is a partial failure. You don't get what you want. That's just it. You just don't succeed. Three is a partial success. You get what you want, but things get complicated. And four is the absolute success. You get what you want and more. And oddly enough, with just that little bit, you can pull off a lot of stuff. And we had a friend of mine had picked up Wander the Dungeon, which is a Caltrop Core system game, and we thought it wouldn't work either, but it did. It worked fine. We played that for a good long time. We still need to finish that, but we kind of hacked it a little bit, added stuff to it, and it's paid off pretty good. There's an example of how they would do if they want to either be stat driven or token based. Mine's going to use a little bit of both. But here, let's see. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and use body, mind, and soul. I've always kind of wanted to use that anyway, because I think it does kind of cover everything as being a physical entity. For example, even my card-based game I'm working on, I'm using body, mind, and soul as well. But let's see where it's got something about combat. Yes, I think I'm going to go with this. I've changed a couple of things around, but I think this works best. Like if you're having an actual combat, you'd probably use body for most combat. And, you take 2 damage. I kind of slowed that down. We'll switch over to see mine. Mine is a little bit... Yeah, right there. On a 1, when you attack, you have to take 1 damage from them because they counterattack you. 2, you do not hit, but you're just in the same place. 3, you just do 1 point of damage. But if you get a 4, then you do a full point of damage. So yeah, that I'm taking a little bit of that. I'm changing it around. I'm altering it. But basically, we are going to use Caltrop Core. But before I even start my sessions, what I've decided to do, I'm going to do a funnel royale. In other words, I'm going to have each one of my friends or whoever I can get involved in it to create 3 characters based on this system. And when we do, we're going to have like an arena set up. I haven't quite 100% done it. Almost like wrestling. I guess we're going to have a battle royale, of course, but it's like a funnel royale. So basically, we're going to fight. We're going to bring 2 out at first, and every so many turns, bring somebody else in, and they'll fight to the death. Don't worry, there'll be clerics on hand to heal them so they can come back later. But whoever survives this funnel royale will be the main protagonist for my next series of sessions. And that way, it kind of makes it totally random for me because it'll be controlled by the fate of this little beginning game. And I just thought of that one day, and I thought that's pretty interesting. I think that would be fun. And that way, because I don't want the channel to just be about solo role playing. I want it to be co-op too. So this would be a good example of co-op, where none of us are controlling it. By ourselves. We're all working together. Right now, I'm calling the hack for fantasy, but eventually I will get a different name. But I'm gonna have like 7 different heritages, and the heritages will just decide their basic health, and their basic luck. Then there's a series of professions, and those professions will add to a certain stat. One of the three stats, mind, body, soul, one of them will be added to. Because with Caltrop, once you get beyond 3 on a stat, you kind of, it's not as fun because then you're winning all the time. But the other thing I got going on here is luck. Luck is a kind of a token system. You start out with so much. Like, for example, the humans start out with 4 luck. So during a game, if you wanted to, you were failing, you could take one from luck and roll another one to succeed. And you get it back by sleeping, or if you fail miserably, you get nothing but ones. Or also, if you get all 4s. So if you roll dice, so really it'd be easier with 1 dice. If you roll a 4, then you can get a luck. But your luck goes up and down through the course of the game, and you use it at different times as you wish. But anyway, I'm going to zoom in a little bit here, or over here, to the actual heritages, because they come from different games I've played or created, and stories and stuff around them. Number 2 here, really number 1, is Dirtbound, which is a plant-based heritage. Basically, they were once human, and through a deal with the Fae, they have been made one of Gaia's children, and they're sort of plant-based, and if they're killed, they just spring back up in the spring of the next year. So it's like they are immortal as long as the earth exists. And they have a lot of traits similar to plant life. They are, even though they would have the physical shell of their original human look, but when they were young, they're sort of genderless because they're plants, or sort of, maybe both, I guess, in a way. But it's something I've been writing a story about. I've always been interested in what it would be like if a plant could get sentience. I'm not too sure that they don't have sentience, but anyway. But they start with 3 health because they're not super sturdy, and they get 2 luck. And this last thing on the end here is their special skill that they have starting out. It's called, all these characters are level 0 when you first start out. Is Bramble Wall, where they can throw up a wall of brambles around it to protect it. The next one is the fungi, and I've here lately in games we always seem to have little mushroom people, and it's not going to be any different for this one. There's going to be mushroom people in this one, and their special little ability is if you hit them, they have a chance to create a spore cloud, and if you breathe it, you start taking damage. So it's kind of like they're surrounded by a cloud once you start hitting on them, and it's doing damage to you too if you stay in that area. And of course, here's number 4. We're bringing the Neekin back. That's a callback to, of course, to Creature X and stuff. I've always liked cat people anyway, so they're always been in there. Their special ability, notice I give them 6 luck. Poor Creature X, he didn't have that much luck. They have jump away, which is like if they feel like they're threatened or something, they can jump their full movement away as like a special move. Then we got human. You'll notice I haven't in the 5th. These numbers represent the 2d4 that you rolled if you want to randomly generate a character. And 5 is supposed to be the most likely number. And today when I was making characters, I noticed, 5 come up a lot. So I put humans at 5, and you'll notice they're kind of in the middle. And I gave them the ability of charisma. Basically, I give them the ability to gaslight others. And then I brought in Malzin, which is, of course, Cherry 1. We brought her group of people in. And I made them similar to humans. They're not as much luck as the Neekins. But I give them hide and shadows, and that's a callback to Cherry 1, where she had mitting, where she could fall into the background. No one would pay any attention. And one of the people that I was talking to about this, he was wanting to create a phoenix-like character, or bird, I guess a bird type character has a phoenix traits, and I created the Phyrix, and I gave them not quite as much luck as the Nikan, and I gave them a little bit more health than humans, but one of their abilities is to start fire. They can just start a fire anywhere. And then the last one I created is the Orion, which are like rock people, or they're a silicon-based life form that surrounds itself with rock and uses the rock like a shell. They kind of replaced the dwarves in my set, and they dig around in the earth. And in fact, that's their ability. They can dig in the ground as fast as they can move. And that kind of gives them a little extra, each one of them a unique ability for their heritage. And they're a rare, whether he's at 8, and the other rare one would be Dirtbound, which is at 2. Those two are supposedly rarer rolls. And so far I haven't rolled them, so maybe that's true. But yeah, those are the 7 I wanted to create. I wanted to do something unique. Actually, Dirtbound replaces elves, and the Warren, like I said, replaces dwarves. Because at first I was going to put elves and dwarves in there, and I said, everybody's got elves and dwarves, so let's try something different. So to get the ball started, I figured for our funnel royale, each person will have 3 characters, or create 3 characters to be in it. That'll make a total of 12 characters altogether in the funnel royale. So anyway, I decided to make 4, because I'm going to have 2 of these at random, pick 2 of them at random to battle, and that'll knock one out before we even start the funnel royale. And I'll do it here as a test of this system to see how it works. So anyways, what I made so far is Marcus Spindale. If you can see that, yeah, you should be able to see that. He's human. His profession was merchant. And you see that made mine go up. Made his luck go up a little bit, I believe. So he's 6. And he's got charisma, which all humans have. He has metalworks, where he makes jewelry, because I think that's what I'm gonna say that's what he's selling as a merchant. And that gives him a dagger right now. I haven't given him the rest of his inventory because it really don't matter inside of an arena. But down here for his description, he's a red-headed, blue-eyed merchant. He hails from the city of Portsmouth. I think Portsmouth's where my characters are going to be from. And he's from a long line of merchants. And he's trying to make his own business. He's very inquisitive and honest, almost to a fault. And these 2 traits I picked, once again, from Wonderhome, because I think those Wonderhome traits are great. So I just rolled them up. Then I have Darman Dimrick, who's a Nikan. I was a little amazed that popped up. He rolled a librarian as a profession. So once again, 2 in mind. He got extra in mind. And I went ahead and I rolled something different, because I was trying to make it where you'd randomly roll stuff, and it didn't really make sense. And I thought a librarian's going to have to know how to read and write. So read and write was the skill he had, plus his jump away skill. And his luck is at 8 because of being a librarian. And I made him blonde and green-eyed. He works as a librarian in the Library of Portsmouth. So he sort of fell into that job right out of school because he spent most of his time there. And he got wise and sturdy. So we'll build that into him somehow as we're playing him, if he makes it. Then the next one was another human, because like I said, I'm thinking they were right, because they kept coming up 5s. This is Diana Shoreshot. She's a hunter. That was a profession she got, so I gave her hunting and charisma. And as I said, she's a young female hunter based out of Portsmouth. She has quite the ability in catching game. She is thinking of tracking new prey in new lands. Most people find her very heroic for a simple hunter. There is a misjustice to call her simple, because she is actually quite learned. So those are, once again, 2 traits that come out of wander home, and if she makes it, there's a good chance she will because her body is 2. So that's usually what's used for combat. So, and then the last one ended up being a fire axe. I was a little surprised that rolled that up. And I called her Julia Cinders, after Julia Childs. But anyway, she was a cook. That's why I called her that. So another one with a +1 in mind, giving her a 2 in mind. Got the cooking and fire starting, which kind of comes in handy for a cook if you think about it. Anyway, this young female cook has plied her abilities at her family's restaurant most of her young life. She now seeks to make her own restaurant. She's passionate about cooking and life, and she is a bit witchy when it comes to ingredients. One wonders what she adds to her recipes. And that was witchy. I always made it because there's only 47 traits, and I roll a D100, but I subtract 50 if it's over 50, and if it's 48 and 49, I'll make it witchy. So that way witchy comes up more to make a character more interesting, I guess. But anyway, I did make a couple of sprites for him here. This guy over here, that's Marcus, I believe. This is Darman. This is Diana. And this is Julia. And I have like base sprites I'm using, and then I just draw over top of them and rebuild them. But anyway, we'll pick 2 and we'll see how they do. Okay, so first thing we need to do is figure out which one of these 4 people, or 2 of these 4 people, we're going to have fight. So let's roll a 2d4. Let me put it out. This is for, 1d4, excuse me. We're going to put it out first, and then we're going to roll it. Number 1, so the first guy is going to be Marcus. Marcus is coming in. So let's go ahead and bring him into the play there. All right, and then we'll roll one more time to see who the second person is. We'll have to roll again. Watch it keep coming up. All right, it's Darman. So we'll bring Darman in, and then let me look over them, and I'll see what kind of backstory I can have for their battle in this alleyway. Okay, so anyway, Darman, who works at the library, he's thinking back to the last few days when the dread Lord of Lancaster had brought men into the city of Portsmouth and said it would be a lottery, and that from the lottery 3 lucky individuals would be able to come to Lancaster and participate in a tournament to decide who would go forth and find riches for them and the kingdom. And he remembered when he first said it, he was standing there outside the library where they had posted the men to tell everybody what was going on, and he yelled out, "Wait, why would they do such a thing? Why would they not send soldiers?" And the people had told him, "Well, dread Lord Lancaster wishes to make new blood in the ranks of warriors, and he wants it to come from just normal folk like yourself there, Neekin." And everybody laughs, thinking of the thought of Darman, a librarian, being a warrior seeking treasure in some ruin somewhere. But when they went to draw the lottery, they had everybody put their names into the lottery. And when one of the soldiers drew the names, one of them was Darman. And he remembered thinking, what am I going to do with that? Why would I want to go there? Why would I want to travel there and be in a tournament and then be the one after that to go forth? He said, I have no fighting skills. I'm just a librarian, right? So then he got to thinking about it. If he had riches, he could make an even better library. His own personal library that he wouldn't have to share books with. But only the best of people, the most wise of people could come there and get his books and share his knowledge. And he got to liking that idea. And he wasn't sure if he could really win. But then again, the soldier had stated that Dreadlord Lancaster was calling upon normal folk to help bring new blood to his soldiers and his warriors and his treasure hunters, as it were. So anyway, he was thinking about that, and he just got through working at the library, and he's going down this alleyway. He always goes down this one alleyway as a shortcut back to his house. And as he's coming around the corner, all of a sudden this young man pops up. "You there, Dorman?" He says, "It's Darman, actually." "Never mind that. I understand you won the lottery." He says, "Yes, I did, and I'm going home to sleep and think about my involvement in it." "Well then, if you don't want to have the involvement in it, I would gladly take the ticket they gave you." Because after they did the lottery, they gave those 3 winners a ticket that would get them onto a carriage that would come here soon to take them to the tournament. He says, "I haven't decided yet." He said, "Well, if you don't want to go, I'll gladly take it from you." He said, "Well, I may want to. It is a waste of time for you to do it. You have no skills. What of you? You look like a merchant." He says, "I am a merchant, and I could use those riches to build a better shop for myself." And here's the thing. I was looking over the rules. They posted them. Did you even read them, bookworm? I did not. What did the rules say? It said someone could take the ticket from you and take your place at the tournament. The Dread Lord wants the most capable people, those who are willing to think outside the box. Is that right? Then what do you aim to do? Come and take it from me? That I do. So they're going to start to fight. Marcus's idea is to take the ticket from him and go in his place. About that time, suddenly, this person just appears out of nowhere. And both of them sort of startled. They go, "Oh, hey." She says, "Do not worry. Continue with this. This is a sanctioned action within the tournament rules." Marcus says, "Who are you?" "I am a cleric of the Divine Light, and in this case, in the service of the Dread Lord Lancaster. I will allow you to fight to the death here in this alley." Darman says, "Wait a minute. Who said anything about fighting to the death?" She says, "It is customary, but do not worry. I will heal you and bring you back to life." But the Darman sort of sweats a little bit. He's thinking, "Oh, wait a minute. I thought maybe I'll just knock this guy down and get out of this alley." But she's like sanctioned it. He says, "May I even ask what your name is?" And she says, "It's Maple." And she says, "Carry on." And she sort of backs away a little bit as she watches the match. So now we're going to roll for initiative and see who goes first. So let me bring up the character sheet. We'll start with Darman since we rolled him first. You get to add your body, which in this case is 1 for... I think both of them are. Yeah, both of them are 1. So the rule is I'm going to allow you to add your body score. So let's roll for Darman. So 2d4, by the way. He got 2, so that puts him at 3 because I added 1. I'm going to go ahead and put a little... I'm going to make a little thing to remember where everybody's at. He's at the lowest. I got a good feeling he's going to be last, but he is in that part of the initiative. And I think I'm going to make it where you just keep initiative throughout the game. So let's try Marcus. Surely he'll do better. Yes, 6 and plus we looked it up. It was +1 because both of them have only 1 for body, which is crazy. It's going to be a hard battle. So anyway, he's a 6 plus the 1, so he's at 7. So he definitely gets to go first. And I'm going to go ahead and put him in there just to get used to that concept. But he is at 7, so he will get to go first. And you'll notice up here, I went ahead and put the hearts out. They both have 4 health, so that's going to work as a placekeeper. So anyway, Marcus comes out, and what was Marcus's weapon? He has a dagger. Wow. And poor old Darman just has a ruler. Oh, poor Darman. Anyway, Marcus goes at him with a dagger, and he only has 1 in body, and body is what you use for any kind of physical attack. So I'm going to place it out there, and then I'm going to roll. That's a 4, so that's a full hit. If I'm not mistaken, it was 1d3. Let's look at that again. Yes, 1d3 right there. So, excuse me, 3 points of damage. So he does the full amount of weapon damage. So that's 3 points. All ready to pour Darman. Now, here's the idea. Would Darman counter? It's his turn. Or would he try? He could do jump away, which has the skill that he can have. They can jump away. I'm trying to think outside the box. I'm going to ask a question. Let's do an oracle here before we go into things. I'm using the same 1d4 system to do the oracle. Does Darman, from years of reading books, has he read about wrestling or grappling with people? 3 is a partial success. So yes, he has read it, but he will not get any bonuses. But he can try that method. So what he's going to do, since his body is 1 as well, he's going to roll, and he's going to try to charge in at Marcus and sort of bind him to get that dagger away from him, or get it away from stabbing him. So let's see. Is he successful? No. In fact, he's just in the same position. So he goes for him. He goes to wrestle with him. And Marcus says, hey, what are you doing? Dodged out of the way and let him fall to the ground. He sort of spins around and is looking at him. So now it's back to Marcus. So Marcus is going to stab at him again. Oh, poor old Darman. So that pretty much took poor old Darman out. So he's gone. He's took that last damage. And as is customary for me, it takes him out. And immediately, she runs over there and she starts doing some kind of prayer, and these lights come up off of him. And she says, it'll take a few moments for me to do this. You may go ahead and take his ticket. And Marcus kind of feels bad about it, but at least the guy ain't going to die. He's going to be all right. So he goes over there. He grabs the ticket. He says, sorry about this, pal, but I tell you what, if I do make a lot of riches, I'll come back here and give you some of it. I promise, and I always keep my word. And he wanders off. So then, about that time, he comes to, and he stands up, and he says, what happened? And Maple says, well, 2 stabs, and he took you out, my friend. But you're okay now. I've healed you, and those wounds will not be scars. So he feels around. He says, you took my ticket? That was part of the rules of the engagement. He says, is there any rules against me going there? She says, no rules against you going there, but you cannot interfere once the tournament starts. He says, what about before it starts? That is between you and Marcus. And then, in a puff of smoke, she disappears. He says, yes. See if I don't have enough money to get to Lancaster. So I think that went pretty well. I didn't use luck in this display or demo. I'm kind of saving it for when we get to the actual Funnel Royale. We are going to use that in the Funnel Royale. And I guess that kind of gave Darman a disadvantage because that's our big area for the Nikin is luck. But it was all up to the dice too. It could have went either way. Both of them had about the same score as far as body, but it's just the way it went. And it looks like it's going to be the D4, the system set forth by Caltrop Core, is going to work fine as an oracle. I started using the tiny Frontier system as its own oracle too, so that worked. So both of them worked. So we're gonna. These are gonna be my 3 characters. I got Marcus, the human merchant, who has stolen the ticket of Darman to get to go to the tournament to start with. We have Diana Shoreshot, who's the hunter. She's going as well. She probably has the best chance out of my guys to win the tournament. I don't mean she will, but she just has the best chance. And well, I know she only has 2 points on that sling. I just now noticed that. And the other one was Julia Cinders, who she does a butcher knife or two, but her body's one just like Marcus's. So it's just with the dice roll. We'll see how it goes. And I'm trying to get my friends together to make their characters and get their characters going, because I need some time to get the pixel art done for theirs. It doesn't take too long because, like I said, I have bases for them and I can sort of add to them. I'm hoping one of them, my nephew, if I can get him involved, he can do some of the pixel art. So that'll speed it up. I still got to make the arena and set everything up. But I think it'll be good, and I'm looking forward to it. And I'm going to try to create narrative for the main session. So we've already got a leader setting the Dread Lord Lancaster. We already have Darman, who's lost his ticket, who plans to go to the tournament and interfere in some way. And we already got Marcus set up that he's stolen it. He wants so badly to have those riches so that he can have a better shop. So we've already set all those things in motion. So that's what's part of what makes this so much fun, and what I like about the solo tabletop RPGs and co-op. Like I said, that's the other one I want to delve into, is the random stuff that comes up, and when you have other people involved, the random stuff that comes from them. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of storylines we build. But anyway, I thank you for watching this video and bearing with me. I think it's going to be a long video for me, but we'll hopefully get all this together, and hopefully by at least next week start the final Royale. And if it doesn't pan out, that they won't be able to be involved, then I'll have to do it myself, I guess. Anyway, thanks for watching this video, and please like it if you can, and subscribe.